gentlemen, this is Sugaray Raper, and we are live at the Sugar Shack.
What up, everybody? How you doing? This is your main man, Sugaray Raper, coming to you live at the Sugar Shack. I got a couple special guests on today. As always, I want to say thank you to my main man, Jimmy Carpenter, the man, the myth, the legend. Jimmy and I met way back. I think I told you guys this. We met way back. I want to say it was like 2007 or something, 2006 in France, of all places, if he can remember. We were at Blues Sur Seine. He was playing with one of the greatest and baddest cats I ever knew at that time. He's playing with Walter Wolfman Washington when we met. And we met again a couple of different times in New Orleans and different places. But we're going to get him up here in a little bit. We're also going to bring in my old saxophonist out of London, Mr. Aaron Liddard. He's got a new album out, and we're going to talk to him about that too. So we got a double whammy for y'all. Let you know that this will be the last show for October. The next show will be November 1st, where we will come back with my man, Nick Schneblin. And Nick Schneblin will be our guest on the 1st of November because I got to go on tour. I got to go do some stuff. Got to go shake it with my mama gave me. So, Lorenz, how you doing in Holland? Girl Eagle, what's going on? Mick Wilson, how you doing? Nicole Mullen, how you doing? Melanie, how's Milwaukee right now? It's a beautiful 78 degrees here in the desert, and it didn't rain last night because we had rain out of the last 50 days. I think it has rained probably like 45 of those days. Matter of fact, they said we've had more rain this year than Seattle, where the Wizard of Oz, Eric Sassaman, is at. Matter of fact, the other day I think it was like 90 at his house. It was only like 88 here in the desert. So it is crazy. It is crazy. Aaron Liddard is joining us too. Aaron, make sure you got your headphones on, brother, and you're backstage, and we'll get you up in a little bit. I'm gonna mute you for now, but put your headphones on. The question of the day, I was thinking about this all day and trying to figure out what I wanted to call the question of the day. And, last time we were talking about what was your favorite quote. That was the question of the day last time. I think the question of the day is how do I put this? What decade do you think had the best dancing and the best clothes, the best music? What decade? And we ain't gonna go too far. We're gonna go from we're gonna narrow that parameter from the 50s up to the early 80s. You can go up to like 89. I don't want to go to the 90s. So what decade? Actually, we had great clothes in the 90s too. So I'm gonna say that from the 50s to the 90s. What decade do you think had the best music, clothes, and the best dances, in your opinion? That's the question of the day. What decade was the funkiest? What decade was the most fun? And what decade had the best clothes, the best music, and the best dancing? Go. That is the question of the day. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing good. I'm going to start this off with one from my friend here, my buddy, the main man himself, the love doctor, I call him. I love this cat. He's just a good cat all around, and he's a hell of a player. Here's one for you by Mr. Albert Castillo.
So we're going to put the band on the spot here. We only did this once on the tour, but we're going to try it. And it's a song called Jesus Left Chicago. Oh, yeah. We're going to give it a try. Yeah. Is that all right? Is that all right? Yeah. Does that mean yes? Okay. Jesus done left Chicago and is bound for New Orleans. Jesus done left Chicago and is bound for New Orleans. Yeah. Working from one end to the other, and our parts in between. Mississippi. Muddy water turned to wine. Took a job through Mississippi. Muddy water turned to wine. Yeah, yeah. Out to California, through the forest and the pine. You might not see him in person, but he sees you just the same. You might not see him in person, but he sees you just the same. Yeah. Don't have to worry, 'cause taking care of business is his name.
My man Albert Castillo, y'all. Jesus left Chicago. We trying to avoid getting any more trouble from YouTube or Facebook. You know, I think it was that Joe Bonamassa song that I played with him playing the Albert King song. I think that got us in trouble. It was too much of a worldly song, and everybody knows it. And so we got warnings from YouTube. Actually, it got more than a warning. They actually shut the stream down, which is the first time YouTube has ever done that. The funny thing was Facebook didn't shut down, and Facebook is usually the one that shuts down. Obrigado, all my people out there in Brazil. We got people from all over. Christina Beer out of Canada is in the house. Laura Hall out up on the Pacific Northwest. Eric Korn, how you doing, my brother? You know I love you, man. You know I love you. Eric Korn in the house. We got people from London. Some people were saying they're coming to see your show. What she say your show was? She coming to see your show soon. So we got people all over the world. Brazil's in the house. Switzerland is in the house. All over the United States. I see New York. I see Rhode Island. I see California, Georgia, Colorado. We got people from all over. Anyway, the question of the day is Banff. John House is in Banff, Canada. I hope I'm saying it right. Banff, maybe it's Banff, not Banff. Banff. Where's that at, John? Where's Banff? Alan Markell out in Portland. How you doing, Alan? Julie Richardson, you know I love you. Julie, gorgeous Julie is out in Vancouver, Washington, which always get me mixed up because every time I say it, I think in Vancouver, Canada, but it's Vancouver, Washington. I've been through that a few times. Actually, my old keyboard player, Leo Dumbecki, used to live there, Vancouver. Question of the day is, what decade? We're going from the 50s up to the 90s, I said. What decade had the best music, had the best dances, and in your opinion, the best music? Go. I want to hear about it. Donna Avila, you gorgeous thing. How you doing? That is my guitar player's mother, Danny's mother, and she's out there in Colorado, in Longmont, Colorado. The Rocky Mountains. Is that where it is? The Rocky Mountains? Right on. Right on. We got the people going on. I know Aaron is like me. I was up last night till 5 a.m. Thought I was going to have to take Pam to the hospital. She decided not to go. She was going to have to fly over and then turn around and fly right back. But I stayed up because I was like, no sense me going to bed if I got to take her to the airport at 5. So I just stayed up. And then I come in and she's like, I ain't going. So I've been up, y'all. I got about 2 hours of sleep. But that just helped me get back in. You know, working out every day. I'm already down about 15 pounds. I got like 75 pounds to go, baby. My goal is to get back down to the mid 200s and get myself in shape. One habit though that I'm going to keep is I'm going to smoke my cigars. It's not like smoking cigarettes. I'm not inhaling them. It's my cigars. Also, on the somber note, I got a message late last night. Saxophone player that plays with Selwyn Birch, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and I don't have my phone in front of me. He's having brain surgery this week. They're trying to avoid him having an aneurysm. I guess they found it in time, and we want you guys to pray for him. If anybody can remember his name off the top of your head, please send that message to all of us so we can send some prayers or meditate or good vibes, whatever your I'm all about vibes. It's not about religion to me. I don't believe in organized religion. I believe in karma. That is my belief. And so I don't say I succeed, but I go out and make an effort to treat everyone with good karma because I believe what you put out is what you get back. Having said that, we want you guys to send, I think his name is something Wilson. And again, I don't have my phone in front of me, so I can't pick it up. But he's having surgery, I think either today or tomorrow, on his brain surgery, y'all. And he's a great saxophone player that plays with Selwyn Birch. And I don't know, have I had, Eric, have I had Selwyn on the show? Eric Saxon? No, I haven't. Done that. We definitely need to do that. I need to get a hold of these people and get them on. Donna Avila said the 70s, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, the Stones, so and so forth. 2 minutes to count. Aerosmith. All right, so you was a rock girl then. All right, you was a rock girl. Right on. Right on. Gail Banks says the 70s. What about the 70s, Gail? What is it? Was it the clothes? Was it the music? Was it the dances? You know, they had some slick moves in the 70s, you know. I remember doing the hustle with my mama because you always tell me, boy, you can't dance. And I'm like, that's what my mom used to tell me, that I couldn't dance. She used to tell me I'm not her child. She said, you can't dance and you can't sing. And I was like, I'm going to prove you. Of course, she passed away before I could prove it to her, but I think I'd have carried the torch for her. But my mama was a singing, dancing heifer. Woo, that woman could sing. Woo, that woman could dance. Anyway, I'm going to have to put a picture up of my mama one of these days so y'all can see what my mama looked like. All right. Let's see. We lost Marty Sam yesterday. Some salmon. I don't know Marty. Jimmy, do you know Marty? Can you hold on a second? Hold on, Jimmy. Let me bring you up. Let me bring Jimmy up to the front, y'all. Let's talk about this because you know I always try. Hey, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Carpenter. Go ahead, Jimmy. What were you saying?
Yeah, Marty was Buddy Guy's keyboard player.
Oh, so I do know him. I met him several times, and then in fact I met him. Dr. Janice Johnson and her and Ann invited me out there when he came play out here in Phoenix some months back, and I met him. I knew the bass player and the drummer pretty well, but I didn't know that. Oh, that's sad, man. And I know we just lost somebody, another great legend out of New Orleans, another piano player. Can you talk about that real quick, Jimmy?
That was
Uh-oh, you freezing, Jimmy.
uh,
You froze.
damn.
You were doing good, and then all of a sudden your Wi-Fi went down.
It's a challenge.
Uh-oh, yeah, you doing the stop motion. You doing the stop motion. I'm gonna pull you off screen, close off your stuff, and come back on again.
Okay, all right.
But I want to talk about the gentleman that passed away. I don't want to make this into a memorial type thing, but it seems like every week, we losing some great people. So we've been trying now, Jimmy.
How we doing?
You got better. Go ahead, speak.
I'm not sure who in New Orleans you're talking about.
But I just saw a thing we were talking about last night. He's a piano player, and he had just had his birthday. You was right there with him, and then
that was
3 days
Marty.
later,
That was Marty.
same cat.
Yeah, he was he was in New Orleans celebrating his birthday. He just turned, I think, 47. Young.
Oh, young guy.
Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, he had just played the Maple Leaf on his birthday. Was some great pictures of him, and then the next thing I saw was, oh my God, he passed away overnight.
Jesus, did they know what it was? Can we talk about that?
I haven't heard anything. I don't know.
Okay, well we'll leave that alone, and then we just as my grandma used to say, we'll send some good thoughts and send some timber up for his house in heaven. That's what old black folks just call prayers. We're gonna send some timber up for you, baby.
I've
That's
never
what
heard.
they used to say. You never heard that?
No.
Oh, that's old black there, brother. That's for your heavenly house. The old black folks say, we're gonna send some timber up for you. They're praying
That's
for
great.
you.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Even though it's a sad thing, it's pretty cool. Now somebody said that they like the 70s because they love the hip huggers and all that good stuff. I remember the hip huggers. I wasn't keen on the bell bottoms, but I like the way the bell bottoms fit up top on women. And I did like the what is it, the halter tops and the tube tops. Oh. Jesus on the main line. His woman is probably there, y'all. He's trying to be all politically correct, but this is Suga Shack. Judy, how you doing? Marty Salmon with Buddy Guy's phenomenal pianist. He passed away the night after his birthday celebration in New Orleans. Chicago blues won't be the same, and she's out of Chicago. In fact, I just saw Judy at Frederickson's festival. That's sad, man. That's sad. Well, Jimmy, while we got you up here, and first of all, thank you for coming back and being a second time guest. And I wasn't sure, it's been weird because we had closed the Suga Shack down for 6 months, and because everybody's been out touring again, so it's been hard to get people because people are touring. And I sent out some messages, and all of a sudden, late last night, I got like 9 replies, like, "Yeah, we'll do it." So, like, I already got to, so and because I'm touring, this will be the last show for October. So you are the guest, baby.
Man, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. I know you've been running the bands and stuff over at the Bender. I want to tell you guys, you and AJ both, because sometimes I don't get around to doing it. Congratulations, you guys started that from nothing, and it is one of the top festivals to go out and play. It is really cool. The good other thing is people look forward to it. They're buying their tickets a year in advance every year, and then getting those repeat customers. And you guys have a hell of a lineup. So congratulations on that. But I know y'all work y'all butt off.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of terrifying and wonderful all at the same time.
Well, I was talking to my brain is going bad because I haven't slept. Used to play my Alistair Green, and I know Alistair sits in with you guys sometimes. He was telling me one time, like, yeah, man, we had 2 days, we had to learn like 100 damn songs, and I'm like, what? Yeah.
We do learn about 100 songs, but we have more than 2 days, unless you put it off until the last 2 days.
This musicians we talking about, so I'm gonna say 2 days.
Right.
2 days,
That's the fun part, I mean, the business part is a challenge to me. It's kind of one side of my brain that does that.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't even go there, because that business part is between us musicians and our agents and all that. The fans, they don't need to know all that stuff. All they need to know is they came, they had a good time, they got to shake their ass, and God was good. That's all they need to know. But I just want to give you, like Big Mom said, I want to send your timber up because y'all do a hell of a job. And matter of fact, you and I we will be in Denmark here in a little while.
Yep.
And hopefully we get to play together there. So what are you going? What do you bring with over there? Is it your band? Can you elaborate on that?
No, it's just the Bender Brass Horns. It's me and Doug Wolverton and Mark Early, and we go over there and play with whoever wants us to play with them. And sometimes we got all this worked out in advance, and sometimes we just do it on the fly. And either way, it's always a lot of fun. That's a cool little town, and Peter does a good job with it, and it's fun. I love it.
Peter Astro, yeah.
And I loved, speaking of the Bender Brass, Mark Early and Doug Wolverton they're great players, great guys to be around, and I couldn't be happier to be working with those guys.
Right on. And I remember playing with Doug and Mike, I think it was some years back. I went out and did a run. Well, I did the Texas Road Blues with me, Duke Robillard, and Jimmy Vaughn, and it was all the original Room Full guys, and that's where I met Doug and those guys. That was cool, and I really enjoyed that, man. They got Room Full. Those guys have been around for a while, so they had this whole scene out there on that part of the East Coast. It was very cool.
They're like that's where I met Doug too, and I met Mark years ago when he was with Roomful, and then I met Doug later. And honestly, I was here in Vegas trying to find horn players that got the thing that we do, that's kind of loose and whatever. And I just, everybody here wanted to read charts all the time and didn't, want to know how many.
Well, you're in Vegas, man. They most of those guys so used to doing those gigantic productions, and it's some anal guy that's been running it. They're not used to being able to just. That's why I used to tell people. And we're gonna get in this. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bring Aaron is in London. I don't know what time it is in London, but I'm gonna bring him up too, because he's a hellified horn player and he's been with me for a long time. Aaron Liddard, what's going on?
Hey,
Aaron,
fellas, how you doing? You hear me okay?
Meet Aaron. We can hear you fine.
Man?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
I'm gonna ask you guys real quick. I don't want to get you in trouble, but let me ask you. I'm not the best reader. If you give it to me and let me have a night, I can figure it out. I've gotten that good. I've gotten at least that good. But you can still fool me with things that don't stand out there as wrong. Let me ask you guys. You guys are both well-trained readers, writers, and all that stuff. Do you find that it is tougher to get guys that only read to go with the soul and be able to go with the flow, to be spontaneous? Can you speak on that without putting dirt on anybody? Can we talk about that?
Yes, I can, man. Like my view on that is that in an ideal world, musicians, let's face it, music is sound. So the first thing is being able to hear well. But then
as we used to say, big ears.
Yeah, and I think that when you academize music, when you make it very schooled, it often focuses on the looking side, and sometimes that results in the guys following that academized approach maybe struggling a little bit to go with the soulful connected way, because let's face it, but not everyone's gifted with both their ears and their eyes.
Right.
So you do, but in a night, like personally, my hearing is a lot better than my reading. But when I moved to London, I set about bringing all of my weaknesses up to a decent professional level. And I think that's what we do sometimes as professional support musicians, is that we build up all of our weaknesses so that we can support anyone at a decent level. But definitely there's guys that are better at listening. There's guys that are better at looking.
Well, you know me, Aaron, and Jimmy, you and I have only played together a few times. There's nothing wrong with the charts. I like you guys to have the charts, but I'm one of those band leaders that, somebody may fart on the left and I turn that way, and I need the band to be able to pivot on the dime. And so my own personal thing is I love guys that can read, but I'm always looking for guys that can do both, because half of my set may be stuff that's not even written, that we wouldn't, I don't do a set list. So it's like, I may spin on a dime. And my thought is like, yeah, you didn't rehearse this, but you're a full-time musician. Find something and make it work.
Right. That's what, that's what Walter Washington was. I learned so much from him. He had a.
Oh, Jimmy, you just froze. God dang it. Jimmy, you totally froze in the middle of your thing. We got a good shot of you, but it's just a frozen picture.
Shall I bail?
Dang it. Dang, and it sounds like he's about to go into something really deep too. No, it's frozen this time.
All right, let me get out and I'll come back.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh.
Every time you say that, it opens back up for you. Like, you walk the wolf man.
That's right. So he had a lot of really complicated charts, but he would also make a left turn in a heartbeat. And I learned really how to follow a leader watching him, because when he was going to do something for.
Oh man! All right, Jimmy, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna take you off. You're gonna have to start your whole thing over again. I think that's gonna be the best, because you froze it again. Frozen solid.
Shall I freeze and pretend to be Jimmy?
All right, I'm gonna shut you down, Jimmy. Restart your thing. There you go. He shut it down. All right, Aaron, I'm gonna put you backstage, and we're gonna play some more music. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna bring you back up. And people are saying hello from all over the world, brother. And it's good to see you.
You too.
All right, hold on. Right on. Check this out, y'all. Here's Jimmy Carpenter, and this is at the Funky Biscuit live. You guys see if you can dig.
There's a teenage boy living inside my head. Man, I do my best not to listen to a thing he says. But sometimes on a Saturday night, that kid starts to sound alright. So whatever I did, blame it on that kid in my head. Well, but call me shallow, call me what you will. Walking up the steps behind you really gives me a thrill. Sometimes I wish you'd leave me just so I can watch you walk away. You belong to me, and I belong to you. And where we are together, I just love all the things we do. Darling, oh girl, I really love you. Saw you stretched out in room 1009 with a smile on your face.
What? Guitar, Jimmy?
I can't seem to get a line on you, my sweet. Made it good, Lord. Shine a light on you. Make every song you sing your favorite tune. Made it good, Lord. Shine a light on every one of you. Oh, yeah, like the evening sun. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's amazing, brother. I like that, man. I like what you're doing there, brother.
Thank you, man.
And you always shock me, man. You come out playing guitar, you come out singing. I'm like, what the hell? Get your ass back there in this horn section. Don't be trying to take my job.
Right, I'm trying to reinvent myself, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. That keeps everything rolling. You got to do that. You know, when you get comfortable, this is just my opinion. I think that when you get comfortable, you get stagnant. And I was comfortable for a long time, but the pandemic and Pam with the cancer and everything that went through, it really kind of shook me up, and I had to shake things up where it was still fun for me, and so that I can get out there with that same enthusiasm and everything. So
yeah, it's I back 30 years ago I was a front man, and then
really?
Yeah, and then I got into and I took off on the road with Tinsley Ellis in '98, and then I was a sideman for all those years, but I started making my records in '07, and but I could never really afford to not be the sideman because I was doing great,
Yeah, tell me about it, brother. I'm gonna tell you something, and I ain't trying to make this about me, but let me jump in there. When I play with the Managed Boys and when I play with the Blues Giants and all these other groups, it is great for me. Because all I do is get on a plane, I show up, and I sing.
Right.
And believe me, I make good money.
It's a lot
and I
easier.
love it. A lot easier. A lot easier.
But this is, for me, I look at this as like an investment in things, I mean, it's for the first time I'm able, largely because of the bender, I'm not scraping and scrapping all the time. And I don't have as much time to do it as I used to have, but I can go out and do my tours, and if they work, sometimes I do great, sometimes not. That's okay. It's all evens out, and I'm selling my records, and
God dang it, your Wi-Fi is really peeing me off. You're in the middle of some good talks, and then all of a sudden it freezes.
What?
Yeah, it is frozen solid again. Yeah. All right. Well, that's my buddy Jimmy. We're gonna get him back. We ain't gonna let him go nowhere. Just stay there, Jimmy, and don't restart it. Just stay there. It seems like it goes through these things where it's bad and then it gets good. So you hang on. We're gonna keep on talking to you. So just there we go. See, now you're back. You were talking about Walter and being able to pivot. What can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, Walter is a pivoting genius. I mean, and he will go off in stuff that's like, what? But and sometimes it's absolute magic and sometimes not. But I always figured you ain't going to know until you give it a shot. So I learned a lot about how to watch him and figure out try to get ahead of what he's going to do.
Yeah. Well, after you work with someone for a while, you kind of know them. You know their ticks and their what you call it, And as a band leader, that is just invaluable. Even if sometimes we don't say it because we got so many things going in your head, it is invaluable to have people that actually know you. Oh yeah,
that's another thing that I'm doing now that I haven't done before is leading the band. There's a definite skill to that, and being able to convey to people what you want to do without waving your hands and jumping up and down, there's a trick to it. And the Walter,
I used to do that. That was my beginnings. Well, beginning was a drummer. And then most of my life as a young man was always the choir director, brother. So, it's kind of ingrained. But I was the choir director, and it's ingrained. But we talked before, but I had no idea that you used to be a front man. That you dropped the bomb on me there.
Well, that was a long time ago, and I was in a couple of different bands that we were doing a lot of original stuff, kind of bluesy pop rock and roll bands, and it was fun. Back I was in a band called the Believers, and we had group health insurance and made records, and everybody's on salary. Wow. And then alternative rock came along and just destroyed us. So
you went the Howlin' Wolf way. I mean, because I've talked to his daughters several times. I love them. They're so sweet because they first time I met them was at one of the Big Blue, one of the BMAs, I think it was, and they came up out of the blue and said, "We want to talk to you." I was like, "Who are these sisters coming up here?" And they were like, "We just want to tell you, you remind us of our father." And I was like, "Oh, Howlin' Wolf." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's a compliment." I got scared for a minute.
That's quite a compliment there.
No, it's cool though. That's cool. I'm gonna bring Aaron back up here too, because I like having you both up here. So I hope you don't mind. This was kind of ambush. I didn't get to put up that Aaron was gonna be on the show because it didn't get finalized literally until after I talked to you, Jimmy. Aaron, I know you have a new album out too, and you were with me for how many years was it? I ain't say was. You're still with me, god dang it. I don't care if you are doing your own thing. When I come over there, I'm grabbing you up. Say, yeah, I mean, I know that you played with Prince for a little while, but you was with Amy Winehouse for a while, and I know you've been doing a bunch of other stuff around there. And you have is this your first full solo album?
Yeah, so I guess I moved from Manchester to London in 2003, and when I left Manchester, I was a band leader, but I had a few things that I needed to sort out, so I came to London and spent 20 years really doing an apprenticeship with a lot of different artists. And I paid my dues with some really big, Amy Winehouse and Prince, two of the biggest names in our lifetimes, really, in music. I spent 10 years with you, Sugar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was really. I started about 2012, right? Was the first gigs we did in France.
I think. I'm trying to remember. I think we first met way back in LA when I was doing the Jam.
We met in 2008 when Obama got in.
Is that when it was?
It was that week, yeah.
The glory days.
Yeah, it was the glory days.
Full of hope.
That's all I'm saying about that. I don't get political on this thing, but that's all. Yes, I agree with you. All right.
So I wrapped up with, still by the end of last year, I worked on your album. I wrote and arranged and recorded. And
congratulations on that.
On your album.
You've gotten a lot of you've gotten a lot of credit on that. I mean, a lot of people have talked about the horn arrangements and whatnot. So congrats on that and thank you.
Yeah, we did great work, man.
Well, I worked hard with Eric to get you guys on that album because he's got his guys that he used in LA, which is usually the Tonight Show guys from Jimmy Vivino, Piner, and all those guys. But I was telling them, like, listen, man, these guys are the guys that are going to be touring with me. And I said, I'm going to change the songs anyway because I got to make them fit for me live. Yeah, exactly. So you better just let them, So good job on that.
Thanks, man. So I've been kind of on the down low working on my own projects just in the studio for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's... I was about to put it out in 2020, and I'm glad that I didn't because it would have been a really bad time to do it.
I kept telling people that too. It was weird. Behind the scenes, I was telling people that, because Eric and I, we had this album done, and we were lucky that we still had songs left over from Somebody Save Me. And so in the interim, we put out 2 singles, to keep, because I wasn't touring. I couldn't tour with the condition that Pam was in. I couldn't afford to bring anything home. And I said all that to say, there was a lot of people that put out some really great albums that really didn't get a chance to be heard because you couldn't tour, you couldn't,
I did. I put out Soul Doctor came out. Well, it came out in September of 19, and then
okay, well, yeah, that ain't too bad though. 19 was right at the cusp. Were we in the pandemic yet, or
no? But then the touring was supposed to be in 20. And none of that happened. So it was.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be my greatest touring season of all time. I mean, we had, as Eric can tell you, we had, and I'm gonna give that to Rick Booth. That's before I went over to the new team. I mean, we had probably 100 dates, and it was probably 120 dates, and it was probably the best dates that I've had in decades. And with the Grammy nom and the BB King and all that stuff, and it was like, man, places Australia and every place I hadn't been, and that just evaporated.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I think that you've done really well, Sugar, to weather the storm, because I know a lot of artists that it just cut them loose, and they now they've got, oh my God, it's all, I've got to start from the beginning again. Can I do that? So I count my blessings that I didn't jump in, that I held off. I I think the problem is for me now is that so many people are putting albums out now.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get any visibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and you're independent, Aaron, or
yeah, I'm self-released this. I kind of toyed with a couple of labels, and then I just felt that it felt better, more genuine to have control, and not just control, but
there's nothing wrong with that word, brother. There is nothing wrong with that word.
You know,
I mean, I'm working 20 hours a day on this. I literally got half hour sleep last night because I'm sleeping for an hour, getting up and getting on with it. So it's like I don't have a Pam or an Eric or an Intrepid. That's all me at the moment.
Well, remember now. I mean, I'm blessed now, but for 18 years it was just me and Pam.
Right.
You know, so I know.
I'm lucky. The Gulf, my thing with Mike Zito and Gulf Coast is a godsend. It's the first time I haven't had to do every little bit of it, and
that is a blessing, you know, because that's kind of what Randy Sharkoff did for me when he was still around with Delta Groove. I mean, that really helped me a lot, you know. So Aaron, I feel your pain, and Jimmy and I know we've been there several times.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, it's hard, man, and the better you do at it, the more work there is to do. It's like it's never ever finished, and it's really daunting, man. It's like, wow, I've got 350 radio stations to chase around, and
I used to have a list, or Pam used to have a list back in the day, and it was I want to say it was 700 or so stations, and I don't know how you guys do it now because it's a little different now with the digital. It's so much better. But last time and we started our own label, Nimoy Sue. I still keep it just in case Eric decides to drop me or something one day or whoever, because I never know. But I remember Pam and I sitting in the living room with a wet sponge because our lips gave out, sending out 700 and some odd CDs and the postage, you know, thousands of dollars in postage out of our own pockets to send them to radio stations and hoping that they would play it. Yeah, I've been there. Sometimes I don't think the audience realize what we go through just to get the music to them so they can hear it.
It's a lot. And, Gulf Coast got a killer team with Michelle Castilla. Albert's wife is running.
Yeah, Michelle's working with us also. Yeah,
she rocks, man. She's done a really good job, and it's such a relief. I mean, I do interviews and I talk to people and I do all this stuff, but I don't have to deal with the massive email list and all that stuff. It's really cool. I love it.
So Aaron, I would tell you, man, you know, and we're gonna play some music off your album. I'm gonna talk to you exclusively before you go. I ain't gonna hold you too long because I know you're tired too. So am I.
Oh,
I'm
good,
waking up now.
It's good to see you.
But it's good to see you too. We're gonna talk exclusively about your album and Field also. But I just love having both of you guys up here. It makes me feel good. I feel like we all together here. And have you guys ever? Did you play the Bender with me, Aaron? Have you ever? Because I've only played I think three times. I think the very first time.
I think I've been through Vegas one time was Bender was on. I think I'd come and jammed a little bit. Yeah.
I think we
probably met, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You were here.
Yeah.
That was one of those ones where you just kind of did one show and we're gone, I think, though. So
yeah.
Plus, I'm busy. I don't.
Back then, though, it was crazy. You know, when we were doing 100 and probably a couple hundred days on the road between the playing and travel. We were everywhere.
I mean, between your shows and a couple of other things, I did 26 countries in 2018, and I think we had the same lined up for 2020, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, actually, some new ones were in there, but yeah.
And that's not just that's like going to France 5 times, and that's counted as one.
Yeah.
It's great. We really got to see the place.
But you know, because of the way things have worked out with the inflation and everything, I don't know about you guys. I'm not doing so much. How I put this, I'm not doing so much road touring as I'm doing one-offs, and it's just that the one-offs are for me with a 7-piece band just makes more fun. Fiscal sense,
right?
Where it used to be, we would go out and have an anchor date, hopefully, and do 4 or 5 club dates or theater, whatnot. I'm not doing that as much now. How does it affect you guys?
Yeah, that's kind of. It seems like the one-off idea, or just maybe if you can go hit 2 and go home is great. Although next month I'm going to the UK. I'm going to do 10 shows in 12 days, and
Been there,
race
done
all
that. I just
around.
did that. I actually, after I talk all that crap, I just did that. I just did that back a little bit ago. We played the Red Rooster Festival out in Manchester, and we were at the Norm in Glasgow, and then we hit. Oh my God, it was crazy. We went down to Switzerland, and then we went back up to Holland, and then and we were doing it all by train because the planes were all messed up. It's funny because I was playing Mammoth, the Bluesapalooza. And my buddy Eric Gales was there. Me and Eric was talking, and he was still distraught because he had just went to Europe. They got stuck somewhere. They lost 11 pieces of his luggage. I don't think he ever got that back. It was a bad situation, I guess, and they wind up sitting somewhere for like 6 days because planes couldn't get out. What people don't realize is that even though it was bad here in the States, Europe was even worse because Europe has a bunch of those little itty bitty airlines and stuff, and they just didn't have the pilots. But they were still booking flights, even though they knew they didn't have the pilots to do it. So we were taking the trains.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the trains were way more comfortable, but even the trains, I think there was a big strike in France that messed up the whole European train system. We were stuck in London or Manchester for like 3-4 days because we couldn't even get a train out. That's long a flight.
Yeah, it's a challenge, man. In fact, they just my flight to Denmark just got canceled yesterday. I got to get on there and
I better go look.
Find another way.
I know that my bass player Alan coming out of Portland, his flight got changed and moved, and he had to redo his. He's actually going to go in a whole day earlier because that's the only way he can get there to be ready for the show. So he's going to have to pay for a hotel room, which I'll reimburse him as always, for 2 days to just sit there, to make the gig.
Still, it's better, man. I'd much rather get there too soon than not get there at all. It's
Right on. Let me ask you this. What is your favorite axe?
Mine?
Yeah.
Tenor. You mean which kind of sax? Definitely tenor.
Yeah, the tenor sax, but what brand? Is there a certain brand? Can you talk about that? Or
I get asked this a lot. My favorite horn that I play all the time it was a prototype designed by a guy named Steve Goodson in New Orleans. Right before Katrina, he had designed this horn, and LA Sax built it for him, and he had like 100 of them made. And after Katrina, when so many people lost their horns and stuff, he sold them to all of us locally for almost nothing. And I was playing late 30s cons, which I loved. But then I got this one because it was cheap and they were nice, and I was like, and eventually I just started playing that one all the time, and I've been playing it for since 08, I guess 07 or 08, just always. And,
now let me ask you one more, and then I'm gonna bring that question to Aaron. Is it the sound of the sax? Is it the way the sax feel, or is there a combination of those?
It's both. It's definitely both. I mean, I love cons. The old, they're built in the late 30s. They're like little tanks, and they got a different timbre to them, but the ergonomics of them are old and they're hard to play. And this one is modern, and it's. I'm not a finesse player.
Explain that to us, because us lay people, we just look at it look like a sax. I mean, Aaron is laughing, so explain it to us.
Well, the way the keys are laid out, the distances and the height and all that kind of stuff, it was like they were made for really small hands. And I don't have huge hands, but it was like I was wrapped all around the thing. And
well, people were smaller back then.
I guess they were.
Yeah, they were.
So it's so I love the sound, and a lot of times in the studio, if I'm doubling myself or something like that, I'll play a different horn on the second part just to give it a little different timbre.
So do you always? So I guess you are always on your tenor. You never play like an alto or.
I play Barry. I play Barry
well,
too. And I love playing Barry, but I hate dragging him around. It's really hard to travel with him.
It is a monster of. I mean, I love the sound, but it is it is a monster of a beast of a saxophone. But I love the sound, man.
They sound great. I actually have a 37 Con 12M Barry, which is like what. That was the horn back. Jerry Mulligan played that, and but it's the same deal. It's kind of hard to play. The intonation's a little wonky, and it's I've had to learn how to make it work, but it still sounds really good.
Right on. Aaron, question to you.
So you got to be very wary, because we're only about a very short step from talking about reeds. And then that's when everyone signs off.
Well, I'm not gonna go that deep because most of us have no idea. We love the way saxophones look, and we love the. I love the sound. Ever since I was a little kid in gospel, the first time I heard someone play a sax, I remember thinking to myself, like, man, that thing sounds so close to the human voice that it is amazing. But go ahead. What do you?
I mean, with the caveat that with the sax, you can imagine the words. So you can kind of, it sounds a lot like the human voice, but different to the human voice. There's not actual words, so you can apply your own emotions to the sound coming out. So in some ways, it makes it means people can imply their imagination a bit more, I guess. Sonny,
Right.
but yeah, I've been all around the houses. I played brand new horns and older horns, and right now I'm where you were 20 years ago, Jimmy. I'm playing a beautiful 1938 Con 10M, and it's. I think that she's absolutely one of the best horns that I've ever played. Maybe one of the best that's ever existed. She's all messed up. She's a banana, so she's not correct, but somehow she plays a dream. And
Jimmy, just let you know you're totally frozen with your hands in the air. But go ahead.
Yeah, not doing the best gesture either.
No, it looked like it looked like you said "F off," you know.
Stop talking about your saxophone.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, so like Jimmy was saying, at a certain point from the 50s, the French really got the ergonomics of the sax nailed. And it's from that point forwards that it just started to feel really easy under the fingers.
So let me jump in there and ask you. So the con is a French horn?
No, that's American.
Really?
Con is American.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
And if you think about the kind of music that was popular in the 20s and 30s, there's no DJs then. There's no rock and roll.
Right.
It was dance bands playing jazz.
Right.
So the number one party music was what we'd now call jazz with saxophones. So the best engineers with the best metals put all of their work in music, in making the best saxes. So I think that's one reason why horn players, when you get your hands on one of those, it feels so good.
Right on.
And maybe it's been, I mean, certainly my horn's been played by a number of surely great players before I got a chance at holding it. So,
is that the horn that you primarily? I know that you have one here in the States too, and I plan on making you use that again. So things are different now. So I plan on at some point come back out here so you use.
I'll leave it in the van then.
Yeah, leave it there. We're taking care of it. So when we all the years we were touring, I thought it was this is my ignorance. I thought you was playing a sonar, but what were you mostly using? Because I know it was a very expensive saxophone because we had a few problems with airlines trying to make you put it underneath. But you got lucky, you being like 6'6", you know, you can hide it on your back and you walk in, people didn't see it.
Yeah, I have an awesome Selmer Mark 6, which is, you know, like the go-to horn, which I played a lot with you guys. And then when I found this con, I felt like I'd come home. Finally, it felt like it was an extension of me, which it should always feel like. Your instrument should feel like an extension of your body.
But having said that, you know, you are tall and you have really long fingers, so maybe.
No, I've got big hands and short fingers.
Oh, so you're like me then?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I never noticed that. Okay. Right on. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna pull you guys backstage. I want to play some more Jimmy Carpenter music. Jimmy, Aaron, thank you guys for being here. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna pull you backstage for a minute, and we're gonna play one more from Jimmy Carpenter. Was Jimmy about to say something? Hold on a second. Hold on, Jimmy. Boom. Yeah, brother.
I was just saying, okay.
All right.
I don't know what. Hope it's good.
Say that one more time. I keep putting you off stage.
I don't know what you're gonna play, but I hope it's good.
I hope I picked the right one because they look alike. They're both from the Funky Biscuit. So let me know. Here we go. Let's try this. And let me move. Is this the same one?
Yeah, that's the shuffle. That's yeah. You won't have any trouble. That one I wrote. So.
Came up hard with next to nothing, but the girl is smart and good looking as she dreamed of all the places she would go. Yeah, you know she loved her folks up in the holler, but she knew she'd die if she had to follow their footsteps down that dead-end road. She's got a wild street, wider than the main street. That one stoplight straight in that two-bit town. Yeah, her love is so sweet, Lord, it makes my knees weak. Yeah, I'm so glad that little wild child came around. You know her mind was made up. She was determined she was not gonna stop till she was burning up the road, headed for a better place in time. Yeah, you know she headed out west, the land of milk and honey. She could be herself and maybe make a little money. And she left that two-bit town far behind. She's got a wild street, wider than the main street. That one stoplight straight in that two-bit town. Yeah, yeah, her love is so sweet, Lord, it makes my knees weak.
Great song, brother. Great song.
Thank
I
you,
dug
man.
that, man.
Thank
I
you.
dug that. So what's the inspiration behind that?
Oh, that's all about Carrie's, my girl Carrie's heroin in West Pennsylvania.
Right on.
Old field.
Right on. Well, Jimmy, man, I got Eric Sassman, the Wizard of Oz, got your website and everything up there. Where we go and get y'all can go and get Jimmy's music. You froze again, but no, you just go on TikTok. It's good. I just want to say thank you for being here today on such short notice. That is very kind of you, brother. And like I said, I just live down the road, so if I ain't gigging, I'll come over there. You guys doing the Bender and sit in and have some fun too. So
yeah, man, you're welcome anytime. If you're home,
it's only about a 3.5 hour drive from here. So
come on.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that one of these times. If I ain't gigging, I'm just gonna show up and like, well, Jimmy, I'm coming in, man. Sit me in somewhere.
Well, just come up and have dinner, man. Let's go have
Yeah, I remember the last time I played Vegas, you came in down and played with me and sat in. That was really cool, man.
That was
appreciate
great. I had a ball.
So did I. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Carpenter. I'm gonna put his web music up one more time. And the question of the day, y'all, was what decade from the 50s to the 90s? What decade had the best clothes, the best dances, and the best music? Jim, you got anything you want to say to the people before you go?
Man, there's a whole bunch of people saying hello and all this stuff. I really appreciate everybody reaching out here. I love all of y'all. And my new record on Gulf Coast is all New Orleans music. It's called the Louisiana record. And that just came out a couple of weeks ago. So
right on. So I'll be glad to get you back on and we'll review that. And we're not really review because I don't do a review. This is not like regular interviews. We just talking the stuff. So I look forward to hearing that, man.
Thank you.
What date is it come? What date is it coming out?
It's out. It came out actually been a month now. It came out the 16th of September.
Oh, and could give us that name one more time.
The Louisiana record. It's
that's easy to remember.
I went down into Dockside Studio in Maurice, Louisiana. Did it with a bunch of New Orleans friends of mine, and knocked it out in a couple of days. It was it's all classic stuff like Something You Got and I Hear You Knocking and Lonely Lonely Nights, and it's my favorite. A bunch of my 11 of my favorite songs from down there. Not all of them for sure, but
how long did you live in Louisiana?
13 years.
Right on. Hey, before you go, I want to give a shout out. We got a couple of people that need some blessings. I want to give a shout out to Willie J. Campbell. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to leave to go down to Lafayette sometime this evening. I'm start driving to do recording with Willie J. Campbell, who is for y'all that don't know, Willie J. is battling ALS. And this is probably going to be one of the last recordings he did. And me, Jennifer, a bunch of people were going down and recording the album with him because that's what he wanted to do.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah. We're going to, matter of fact, my date is the 22nd. So I'm just going to take my time and mosey down. And Pam is coming with me. It'll be one of our first semi-vacations since all this stuff happened. But Willie J. Campbell, y'all keep in your prayers, your thoughts, in your meditations. Send up September for him. He's battling ALS, and y'all know how that is. And Willie is a great guy. If you ever had the opportunity to spend some time with him, he's just good damn people and a hell of a bass player. All those years with the Manish Boys, all those years with the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and all the others. Willie J, we love you. I'll see you in a few days. The other person I want to send out is Mr. Gary Wright. I call him Chef. Gary Wright right here in Arizona. Matter of fact, when I get done with Willie and those guys, and we're going to go over to Savannah. Pam wants to go to Savannah for some reason. She's never been. So we're going to go over to Savannah and have a couple of days, do some characterizing. But then I come back here to Arizona, and we're doing a benefit at Bob Corritor's The Rhythm Room for Mr. Gary Wright, who's he's faced cancer 3 times and beat it. And it's come back on him with a vengeance. And Gary just posted on here. He's on here also. Gary, we love you. And we're doing a benefit for him on the 30th at the Rhythm Room. So everybody that's in the Phoenix area, please come down. And it's a worthwhile thing. If you met Gary, just one of the nicest souls you could ever want to meet. And again, I can't remember his name, and I apologize about that. But send some love for Selwyn Birch's saxophone player who's having brain surgery either today or tomorrow. They found the blood clot before it burst. The doctors thought it was ready to burst at any time, so they're having brain surgery for him. So hopefully that comes out in a positive note. My daughter-in-law just went through it, and they thought it was inoperable. Well, we found one of the greatest physicians out there, and they saved her life, and she's doing real well too. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if it's just because I'm getting that age or whatnot, but so many people I know now with the cancer and passing away. But the young man you were talking about a few minutes ago from Buddy Guy's piano player there, that is just sad. 47 years old.
Yes,
and a day or two after his birthday. That is just after he played a gig. Even I mean, that's if I got to go, I like to go on the stage. That'd be great. That would submit. My whole thing has always been about having immortality in the music, and that's why I do it, because whether I'm going or not, my music can still be here. So that would be great if I could go on stage. But we can't choose when. Well, we can choose when and where, but that's a whole other subject. So
right, Reggie Oliver is his name.
Reggie Oliver, right
Sweet.
on.
He's a wonderful guy and a great player, and just really a wonderful human being. I just heard about this yesterday. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was funny because I had just saw some post about the birthday party, and then I was like, I actually thought, I saw some people when I looked at the post. I saw a lot of names that I knew, and I'm like, how do I not know the guy? My thought is, I thought it was a joke, because I was like, well, they just posted that he was playing at New Orleans for this thing. What are you talking about? And that is really sad. That is sad. That's a sad thing. But I don't want to end on a sad note. Jimmy, from the bottom of my heart, this is your second show, so I hope you enjoyed it. Gino Mateo, how you doing, brother? I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for being back. I might have to get Gino on the show one of these times. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for coming back and sharing love and thoughts and stories with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure anytime. And I will see you in Aalborg. No,
Yes.
Friedrichshafen.
Friedrichshafen.
Right.
See you in Friedrichshafen.
Like in
Yeah.
2 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks.
I got so many shows coming up in November. I've been sitting at home, but November, I don't even know. I know one of the shows is me and Shamika at the Fox Theater here in Tucson, and I got to literally walk off the stage, drive the 100 miles to Phoenix, get on a plane, and fly to Reading, Pennsylvania. I think I land at like 7 in the morning, and I walk on stage at 1 p.m. So,
Hey, who books this stuff, man?
Exactly. And then we have world records coming up and a couple other things. So I think Friedrichshafen, is that in the middle of the month?
It's
Denmark? Blues Haven?
9, 10, 11, 12, something like that.
Oh, it's at the beginning of the month. Oh, good
Yeah.
Lord Jesus. All right. Well, I try not to think about it.
I leave on the 8th if I can get a flight. That's
I think that's when I'm leaving. The 8th, I think it is. But I'll see you there, brother. We're gonna have a good time.
I love it there. We'll have fun.
And so, and Brian Slack, my brother Brian Slack.
Hey, Brian.
I love Brian. I've known Brian for a while. He books a lot of stuff up in Canada and whatnot. And he's just good people. My only problem with Brian is I got to bring him over to the cognac side. He like his bourbon and his whiskey, but I got to bring him to the dark side with the cognac. Anyway. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for sharing your love. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thank you very much for having me.
No words. In last words, you wanted to shout out that album one more time?
Sure. It's on Gulf Coast. It's out everywhere now. It's called the Louisiana Record. It's a way different thing than Soul Doctor. It's a little more laid back and chill. And my guitar player says it's sexy. I don't know. So.
Yeah, right on. All right, y'all. Mr. Jimmy Carpenter, the legendary Jimmy Carpenter, the force behind the big blues bender, and that's what I'm gonna call you, whether you like it or not. You're the force behind it, brother. You are the force behind it. So
I love
the
work. Bender, man. It's a amazingly challenging, awesome thing to be involved in. I couldn't be happier to be a part of it.
Right on. Gary Wright says, sending healing prayers. We're sending healing prayers to you too, Chef. We love you, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Jimmy Carpenter. So give him some love one more time. And the show Real Love is, I'm going to put this up one more time. Boom. You want to show some real love? Go buy an album. Because that is how us musicians keep doing what we're doing. You guys know that. I don't need to beat you over the brow with that. Go buy an album so we can get the gas money to come to your town or a town near you. All right? We appreciate it. Jimmy Carpenter, thank you, brother.
See you soon.
Later. All right, that was Jimmy Carpenter, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring this other gentleman back up here. Bam, there he is, Aaron Liddard. Aaron, thank you for being patient, brother. As you can tell, the show is definitely going past 1 o'clock. We're already 14 minutes past the hour, but that is all right. So you have a new album out. Can you talk about that?
Yes, sir. So it's called Nylon Man, and that's named after the 3 cities that have inspired me most as a musician: New York, London, and Manchester.
Okay.
And it's 12 years in the making. It involves 42 musicians, and it's broadly jazz, and jazz being an American tradition. And I think jazz is unusual in that it's an art form that's not defined by its boundaries. The majority of genres are kind of defined by what they're not.
Okay.
And jazz is unusual in that it's kind of very open. So, and this album is very open. There's Latin on there. There's some ballads. There's some heavy rock. There's some drum and bass, and loads of vocals and loads of improvising. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it could sound quite difficult, but I just stuck very true to the ideas that came to me, and it's really connecting with people.
Right on.
For me, the album's quite long. It's almost 80 minutes long, and it goes in lots of different directions. But overall, it gives me a sense of balance and well-being, I think. And what I've noticed now from people listening to it is that I wouldn't say that people would listen to it and love everything on there, but I think if you listen to the whole thing, you'll find something that will resonate. I'll give you a couple of examples. Today, a fellow musician got in touch and said, I was listening to your tune Snowdrops, and it made me realise that I've never really grieved. This is a musician that's had a really tough 3 years through the pandemic and everything else. And she didn't really get to grieve. And something about that tune, it's a tune about hope through despair. It really connected with her and gave her the opportunity to cry and get through it. And then on the flip side, I had my launch show on Saturday a week ago. Someone at the show who's been out every weekend all this year said it's by far the best night out he's had all year.
Right on.
Someone else, another fellow musician, said that during the show, he actually started listening to music in a new way. He just stopped trying to work out what was going on and just started absorbing it like a baby would. And he said it was almost like deja vu, that he kind of experienced listening to music as a baby would. So people are having
something you would always hope for. I think as a musician, that is a great analogy. I mean, we hope people absorb what we're saying. That's kind of Eric and I. We try to take very serious. Eric Korn and I, we try to take very serious subject matter, but wrap it in a burrito of great music. And it's kind of like it is a burrito. You can take a bite into it, and then you're like, man, this is good. What is in here? Then you got to go down, sit down, and unwrap the burrito to see what's actually in there. And I love that. Like a baby that's absorbing it, almost like osmosis. But go ahead.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And so I think a lot of jazz albums, people can be put off because they think, it's going to be loads of soloing and loads of noodling, and let's be fair, can be the case. With this, I think as a result of working with mainstream pop artists, I had the opportunity to really work out the difference between a live show and a recording that you listen to in your own space. And I think for me, it's quite often a different thing. I think that a live jazz show should be all about improvisation and all about including the audience in the experience so that you actually live an emotional experience together.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah. You know why I fit in your band. Yeah.
that is the way I think going into a show. And I, even with Eric Korn, I love Eric, and I hope to do another 9 albums with Eric. That was one of the things I had to explain to him is like, I sing okay, but it's the live show where I actually connect with the people. And I must say, Eric has done a good job, a great job, better than good, an amazing job of letting my voice connect with people over the airwaves, which I don't know if that's really been done like the way he's done it, because I'm always just so used to doing it right in front of people. So, but it's cool to be able to reach people at that distance. So, and you said 20 years is taking you to write this album.
I've been working on it for 12. I
12.
guess, I've been writing stuff for it all the way along. Yeah, and I think that Eric's really done it into deep. And I think that I've managed to a certain extent get that different experience of listening to an album in your own safe zone, whether that's kicking back in the shack with a cognac and a cigar, or just listening on a pair of these on the subway, wherever it is where you need to just be in your comfort zone.
I think people stopped doing that. They used to have we used to have listening parties, or the big deal was to get into your room and throw your cans on and play your record. But listening parties, and a lot of musicians used to do that, and musicians don't get together and do that anymore. You know how many great albums came out of listening parties when musicians would come together like, I got these new albums, couple of us sit down, listen to it, and and take them in total different directions. I think that is something that's kind of missing in the culture, or maybe it still goes on and I haven't heard about it, but I don't hear about I can't tell you the last time I was invited to somebody like, let's go to my house, man, have a listening party, sit down and listen to some stuff, introduce me some stuff that I haven't heard, which would make me think in a different way and approach things in a different way. What do you think about that?
I think it happens, but I think it's probably happening more in coffee shops in Japan than it is in America and Europe.
Well, it's weird because Japan's always the sleeper, and I tell people that it's weird how Japan picks up on things and it becomes a cultural phenomenon in that country. Like I remember when the whole rock grease looking, with Levi jeans and the poodle skirts, and then they went to strictly rock, and then they went to hip hop. Now they've kind of gone back to soul, funk, and R&B. But yeah, Japan is pretty weird that way.
Yeah, I think that culturally they missed out on a heck of a lot of stuff the first time round, and they are experiencing it freshly by imitation, really. And Japan culturally, anyway, it's like it's everything we know about culture and turn it on its head is close to what it's what occurs there. It's the reverse in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And what's great for us as musicians and artists is about Japan is that it's one of the last remaining places on the planet where people become fanatical about the art that they consume.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, as we both know, making a buck or making the costs back is tricky. So if you have, you got a 1,000 fanatics that will come to every gig and buy the same CD every time they see you, you've got something. And it's the wonderful thing that Japan, for the few artists that get a hold there, suddenly have a way of getting back to the art and not having to worry so much about all of the peddling that goes on underneath the surface.
Well, let me ask you, because it seems that way in the UK and the States. I will say, like my last 3 albums have been more of a soul endeavor, and that's been intentional. We've been pushing over in the soul side. We always leave some blues there, but it seems like, I don't know, is it that the audience is in the America and the UK, or they just what's the word I want to look for? I think they grew up with and they've had great music around so much that maybe they seem a little blasé to the music. And it's kind of weird when we travel the world, which we've done and which we will do again. When we travel the world, when we go places that you would never expect them to love blues or soul or jazz, and they are fanatical about it, it kind of throws you aback because it's always such an uphill battle in the States and the UK. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that the UK and the States has such a wonderful supply of original artists that the supply is good, so the demand is not so strong. Whereas you go to a country like Germany that maybe doesn't have its own homegrown jazz and blues talent, and therefore they lap it up.
Yeah.
And then another factor to this is just a weird thing of humanity, is that the further someone travels, the more valuable they become.
Isn't that weird?
It's great though, isn't it? Because
It
the longer the flight, the better the welcome.
Yeah, it is.
But it means that when you do a show in your own town, it's hard work. It can be far harder than it should be, really.
Yeah. I
Having
just
said that,
always-
I had a great turnout at my album launch show last week, so I'm really grateful for everyone that did turn out. It does happen sometimes.
Congratulations on that. Well, you like I say, you know, you got a name. You have a name, brother. You played around. I mean, people know who you are, and it is cool for this endeavor. And I want to wish you great luck with it and great success. And I know how hard you're working. I know how hard it is. If there's anything I can do, I don't have a lot of pull, but let me know. And have you let Eric hear it yet?
I think I sent him 1 or 2 tracks, but I should send him the album. And you're doing it right now. Thank you so much to give me give me your platform. And I mean, if anyone wants to buy it, I have it on vinyl.
Hey, hold it up. Wait a minute. We got. You messed up your mic. Hold it up and don't wiggle it. Just hold it up. There you go. You good. Just hold it up. And it got too much light glare on it. There it is. Nylon Man.
Nylon Man.
Bend it down. Bend it forward a little bit more. Bend it. There we go. We don't
there
want
we
that
go.
glare.
Yeah, it's off the light I've got up.
Well, I got one of the songs lined up for you, and people were talking about they really like Slow Drop. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. I listened to a few of them last night. Were the ones you had on YouTube anyway, and I really dug this one. And who's this young lady lead singer? This is San Francisco or Frisco, sorry.
So Frisco, the feature artist is one of yours.
Wait a minute.
Actually.
I'm gonna pull me off. You go ahead, pull me.
Oh, okay. Have I got to be on screen while you play it? So, Colleen Anderson
Yes,
is
you
American born. Looks like a bit trained. And we worked on this together. I actually wrote this song in San Francisco the first time I visited America back in 1997. At the time, I was hearing a lot of jazz and hip hop, socially conscious hip hop, and was very inspired. And I remember walking across a building site at dusk, and the whole tune downloaded into my head. And I wrote it at the time, put it on a shelf, revisited it about 20 years later for this album, and then presented it to Carleen. We'd met both working together on a show with Michael Henderson and Norman Connors. Michael Henderson was a bass player that toured with Stevie Wonder, and then he was in Miles Davis's band, and then he went on to be a solo singer. And when he visited London one time, I was his musical director. And that's where I met Carleen Anderson. Carleen, her history is she's very much known as a soul singer since she's James Brown's goddaughter. She's an amazing artist outside of soul as well. And she came and worked with me on the track. She wrote the lyrics and her melody and some of the chords. And the result is really spellbinding. It's really, I think, between us, between her living in San Francisco and me being fortunate to visit many times, I think we've captured a little bit of the vibe of the city at dusk. So I hope you enjoy it.
Frisco, undercurrents pushing me about to find a life out, pulling titles to the coast, learning what and who might mean the most to live in cloudy dawns and clear sunsets, starts and ends with sums of gifts and gifts. Who knows what happens next? The world is known for many gems. Shine, San Francisco, again. Shine, San Francisco, Frisco again and again, Frisco again and again. Shine, San Francisco, Frisco again and again, Frisco again and again. Shine, San Francisco, Frisco again and again, 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 Frisco again and again.
Right on, man. Right on. I really dug that, brother.
Great, man.
I listened to it a little bit before, but I wanted to really sit here and for the first time, like get like my first reaction to it, because I knew I was gonna bring you on. So I listened to some stuff, but I never listened to anything all the way through. I was like, okay, I want to make sure that, dude, I love where your mind was, and I'm gonna tell you, man, the imagery really helped set that song up.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that like you had like some backdrops when you did your live show. I mean, because the songs I've heard, Snowdrop, that one, a few others, they're so image and thought provoking to me. Man, I love it. It's hard to be put in words. I really dug it, Aaron. I dug it, man.
Yeah, beautiful, brother. I mean, a lot of the shots of San Francisco, I took myself on my phone. I was out visiting a good friend of yours, Beth.
Yeah.
And we
My little
hung
sister.
out in San Francisco, and so it's great to get some of those shots myself. And so I have this kind of very weird way of writing music and producing it as well. Like every now and then music sort of downloads into my head. It's
Right.
like I've this is a little bit, hippie-ish, but I kind of believe that sometimes music already exists before it chooses a writer, and that if we as artists are open to that, then maybe we become we have visibility within that place.
Yes.
And so whenever I get I hear something in my head that I've not heard from somewhere else, I recognize that it's coming from that place, and I make it my job to try to turn it into a version that other people can hear.
You know what's so weird about that is it makes perfect sense to me because I try, believe it or not, I try not to listen to a lot of music because if I'm writing, whether you realize it or not, we are sponges, and before you realize that you're copying someone else did. So, I think my personal philosophy is to, if you're going to do great music like that, is to isolate yourself so that it's coming from a place that's, like you said, deep within you, or you're tapped in. As I said, I'm a cosmic knowledge fish, baby. It's swimming through the cosmos, a fully developed being. You have to be out there to allow the waves to wash over you. And what happens is, with there being so much music sometimes, and that's why I'll go back to the listening part, is a lot of times you don't realize that you're regurgitating you're regurgitating the same thing that's been done, and so a lot of the old bands, Queen, Parliament, a lot of those bands that had these iconic songs, Marvin Gaye, they would last for 200 years. They isolated themselves to kind of hear their own voice and their own being. Did they make it? I know that sounds hippie, but it is the way that I think.
Oh yeah, I think I'm with you on that, and I think something that's I found quite troubling is that I'm into loads of different kinds of music. I love the blues. I love funk. I love reggae, gospel, Latin music, rock and roll.
Oh yeah, I can remember us being on tour many times, and we have a day off, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to sit in with this reggae band, or I'm going to sit in with this 13-piece." We were in Switzerland one time when you would sit in with some 15-piece Latin band in Basel. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I came down that night.
Yeah,
like,
Carpenter or not? Yeah,
yeah.
So it means that when I'm kind of I hear stuff, I end up hearing stuff that's quite disparate, and that made me think, hold on, how can I make a body of work when it's not ticking any particular pigeonholes? And so
that's what I used to say about Prince.
Yeah,
say
right.
what you will. People say, "Well, this is soul, this is funk." I'm like, no, it's Prince. He found his voice. He stayed in his lane. His lane was huge, but his music didn't sound like anything that anybody else was doing. I love that about him.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully, I'm sort of going in the right direction, and I think a big element has been trying to work out how to record it in such a way so that you get the vibe. So, for example, in the track we've just heard, there's some bebop, and I've intentionally tried to make it sound like it was recorded in the 30s or the 50s, maybe. And that took a bit of doing to take sort of, by the way, there's no samples on the album at all. So you might think, oh, he's just ripped that off of an old record. No, we've recorded it. We got the great guys for it. We got them in the right studio with the right microphones and got the sound for it. But it took me and the engineers a lot of experimenting, a lot of risks, a lot of failure before we found the right way to get the character of each facet of each song. Because I'm big about balance, and I think that by having the chorus of that song very, very slow and then the bebop very, very fast, you end up with a straight. It's comfortable, just works. You haven't got to think about it. And I don't think the music's really quite challenging to play, but I don't think it should be challenging to listen to. It should just be nice to listen to, right? If you get that good, right?
That's a great analogy. I like that, man. I like that. And like I said, everything I've heard is been stellar. It's been tops, brother. And I know that you just got home. What time is it over there?
So it's 20 minutes to 10 in the evening.
Okay.
I was working all day yesterday. Then I went out to support a brother that was doing a release. And then I got home at 2. I think I slept for an hour and I woke up and I got back on it. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm really, really happy to be here. So I'm happy, I'm going to stick around, man, and watch the rest of your show.
Well, this is pretty much it, baby. We've already been on for an hour and 40 minutes, and you know, I hadn't done one of these long ones in a while. I've been keeping them. I have been keeping them pretty short, you know. But it's cool, man, because I really wanted to have you on, and I know we were trying to set this up last year, and everything just kept getting kind of just like crazy and you know, just out of whack because there's so much that was going on. You know what I mean?
No, this is perfect timing for me. Thanks, bro. Because I literally just put this album out, so the fact that you give me your platform, I'm really grateful. And I'm not saying people should buy it, but I'd love people to listen to it because I genuinely think.
Well, I'm saying that I'm saying that people should buy it. People should go and buy it because, you know, as a front man and as a businessman, you know, we make the music because we have to make it. Whether people bought it or listened to it or not, it's something that we have to get out. But it also really means a lot when people do buy it and do this to it because it allows us to do other projects. And I see that you're playing in Newcastle, and one of our fans here says, Nicole Mullen says he's going to see you in Newcastle. So she's looking forward to it. I'm gonna put up Aaron's info. Here's the info, ladies and gentlemen, where you can go buy the album. Are you doing downloads, Aaron, or is it all just physical content?
It's all formats. So it's on vinyl, it's on CD. I can post it anywhere in the world, but then it's on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, YouTube, you name it. It's everywhere. I kind of, you know, as an artist, you look at the way that those platforms work and you think, do I want to give my little bit of my heart to that system?
Yeah.
And then you think, well, actually, the music has a spirit of its own, and my job is partly done now. And I've made the music, and now my job is to give it every opportunity of having a life outside of me.
As I said, they're like our children, brother. And people ask me all the time, "What's your favorite album, Ray?" And I'm like, and I tell them that I don't have a favorite. They're all my children. It's like, you know, which is why my shows I play. A lot of times, as you know, I play songs from 8 different albums, and then throw my couple of my favorite covers in because they just have that certain vibe or feel. So we had a good time today. We had Jimmy Carpenter. We had my good friend, Mr. Aaron Liddard, saxophonist, writer, composer, director, producer extraordinaire. Wearing a lot of hats, brother. I've been there. I know. But keep on keeping on. What's it? Alan Marcus said, buy Aaron's music. I'm going to leave you with this one, y'all. We had a good time. As always, let me bring him up before we go. The Wizard of Oz. Aaron, thank you so much for being here, man. It meant a lot to me. And hopefully you had fun. And hopefully, there's people from all over the world chimed in. So people all over the world got to hear your music. And a lot of people here in the States. So that is really, really cool. Laura Hall, who does acousticity, she's a DJ there. She's been playing your album for a while. So it's a great show. Thank you, Suga, Jimmy, Aaron. Yeah, thank you, Mama. We appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with this one right here, y'all. This is Sugaray. And the question of the day was, what was the best decade, the 50s to the 90s? Which one had the best dancing, the best clothes, and the best music? I saw a lot of 60s, a lot of 70s. I saw no 80s. I saw no 90s. It was all,
70s, baby.
It was all 60s and 70s. I don't think anybody said anything about the for the 90s. Aaron said you need.
Oh man, 70s for me.
Oh, 70s for you too?
Yeah, man. I mean, let's face it. At the end of the 70s, the money men got involved in the power of the record labels, and they started calling the shots away from the arts. The 70s is the halcyon days of exploratory music on record.
All the good rock and roll, man, in the early 70s. That's where it was all born.
And soul and disco and
you rock and roll guys. I'm thinking soul and
jazz. Miles Davis was killing it then. The whole jazz thing came out at that time.
Yeah, Miles was huge during that time, 70s. I like the stuff from the 60s too because for me it was that transition from the Glenn Miller / big band swings thing to Duke Ellington, and I love that. But Alan Markel Jazz Fusion.
Yeah, Alan. Return to Forever.
The things really started changing. That's when I became a big Parliament fan, because they were doing Parliament, Brick, the Daz Band, Confunction, and all these bands, especially the soul stuff I was listening to at that time, and even the gospel thing, the Tremaine Hawkins, the Walter Hawkins, the Winans, and so on and so on. Everything changed that 70s. As far as the clothes, you know, the polyester got old real quick. You know, I feel like the big collars, the big flowery collars, and but like I said, I was never a big fan of bell bottoms. I just think it made people look weird, especially if it was not needed. It made you look like
I love those bell bottoms.
You love bell bottoms?
Oh yeah.
I see you still wearing tie-dye right now.
See? There you go.
All right, y'all. Laura Hall. No, I like it. You like bell bottom, Laura Hall? Okay. All right. Well, I know. Like I said, I like the top part of the bell bottoms because it was like hip huggers, and the girls were women, and they got the navel out. They're wearing the tube top, and woo! I love that. But anyway, we had a good time, y'all. And as always, this is Sugaray Raver saying, please, for God's sakes, be good to one another and to yourself. Aaron, this is one of the last time we played. I think we had played like 15 dates in a row, and then they said we got to go to Pay Studio and record live. And I was like, what? In New York. So check this out, see if y'all can dig this. Let me put you guys backstage. Stay on for a second, and then we'll say our goodbyes in a minute. All right. Let me get the right thing going, and let me get me.
Now you people at home, get up out them chairs. I know you're at work. Get your co-workers to move with you. Let's see, booty's wiggling and everything else jiggling, baby. We're gonna take you back to 1972. Come on, fellas. Dry your eyes, wipe those teardrops from your eyes. When we all parties and awful crime,
Back in the
Nice.
day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Yeah, that was back in the day, man. I was 2019. I think that was the last tour that we did, and that was a crazy tour because we were doing it all by van.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like, man, it was wild. I think we hit, almost the entire country on that tour.
Jeez.
We did 26 states in a month.
Holy cow.
It was 26 shows, 26 states in like 16. It was something crazy, like 26 states in 16 days. Like we were doing double dates, and we did New York. We went up into Canada. We did Florida. We were in, my God, California. We were everywhere on that tour.
I think I counted that we did an average of 8 hours travel a day, average.
Oh my God.
Which is nothing.
Basically, you know, have you ever seen the A-Team?
Yeah.
You know, the A-Team truck. There's 7 of us in the A-Team truck.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's not big seats, it's little bench, but it's nice. It's good fun.
It was. I mean,
as long as y'all get along.
99% of the time we did, but I mean you got 7 personalities, a lot of alphas in there, so there were times, you know. But overall, we loved each other, and we still love each other, and we always had great shows. And I was tempted to play that one, but it's too long. It's like an hour long. That one of the best shows I think we ever did was that one at Jazz VN, and it was so crazy because again,
recording, yeah.
it was well again we had played like 14 days out of the last 17, and then the last show was that huge show.
My God.
After we were hoarse and beat up and tired. I don't know if people can tell when they go and see it, but it was great. Listen, y'all, I think those that stuck around, God bless your souls. I did not think this was going to be a 2-hour show today, but that's pretty good since this is the last show of the month. We had an hour and 53 minutes, actually an hour and 51 minutes because we started 2 minutes late. It looked like I'm going to have to give it to the 70s. Most of the people said the 70s was their best clothes, dance, and music. It looked like it's the 70s. 60, I said 67. I really love the 80s too. Music went more electronic in the 80s. You still had some great soul bands and some great, Chicago
and some good rock and roll.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. You had some good rock and roll. But yeah, I have to say this: the 70s just had that movement. Like everyone showed up dressed in that style. That makes any sense? Like now when we play shows, everyone just got their own individual look. But I must say in the 70s, everyone kind of had that, no matter who you, whether it was, if you was in the soul thing, they had their look. The rock thing had their look. The reggae thing, everybody had that reggae look. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that? Like everybody just kind of had their look. So, Aaron, thank you so much, man, for being here. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You know I love you. Things get a little crazy during the pandemic, but we all right now. We good. And congratulations on the new album, Nylon Man. And I know it's going to be successful because I know how hard you work, and the music sounds awesome. So, you had Yelfries on there, man. Yelfries, right on.
Yeah, Jeffrey's on there. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I always say Yelfries because it's with a Y. I always say Yelfries because he spelled it with a Y, but that's right. It's Cuban, so it's Jeffries. It's Jeffries.
No, thanks for having me on, brother, and thanks to I know that Laura's been playing my music up in Walla Walla, and I'm really grateful to anyone that's taken the time to listen and share it with their friends, because I can't do this on my own. So I'm really grateful to everyone getting on board, and it's great to see you, brother.
It's great to see you, man. Any last words before we go?
Whoa.
We got 5 minutes. We're gonna stop it for sure.
Really? Let's talk about reeds.
No reeds. That's just too deep in the weeds, brother. Too deep in the weeds.
Deep in the weeds. Okay.
Hey, I'm Sugaray. So Aaron Hall, Jimmy Carpenter, and the Wizard of Oz, Mr. Eric Sassaman. We will see you guys November 1st. Our guest will be Mr. Nick Schneblin. November 1st. There will be no shows after this until November 1st, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't want anyone to be clicking on like, Sugar, where you at? I'll be driving. So, but it's good to be back. This is the 3rd show back, And we had some great guests today. Didn't know it was going to be a double guest date, but it wound up working out and worked good. And you guys stuck around. I'm Sugaray Raven, and as I said a few minutes ago, for God's sakes, please be good to one another and be good to yourself. Remember, prayers going up for Willie J. Campbell, for Eric Wright, the Chef Eric, and many others that are out there, ladies and gentlemen. So music is the universal language. Doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what language you speak. It doesn't matter what kind of food you eat. Just like I said, on the world we live in, people understand music because it's all about emotions. And no matter where you're from on this particular planet and what ethnicity you may be, we all have emotions, so we understand that. So let's keep the music alive. Love, peace, live long and prosper. I'm Sugaray Rayford, and we are